Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because this channel brings you the sharpest political breakdowns, the most explosive scandals, and the stories unfolding across South Africa that the mainstream media is often too slow to unpack. Turn on notifications, join the community, and stay ahead of the national conversation as we dive straight into one of the most talked about political storms currently sweeping across the country. South Africa woke up today to an avalanche of headlines and social media chatter suggesting that former President Jacob Zuma had suffered an unexpected blow after reports emerged claiming that police had taken possession of items allegedly believed to be unlawfully held. Although no official source has confirmed these claims and no formal statement has verified the operation, the conversation online has erupted with intensity, painting a picture of a dramatic confrontation between law enforcement and one of the country's most controversial political figures. What we're seeing is not the confirmation of a corruption case, nor is it the announcement of a new criminal finding, but rather the explosion of public speculation, commentary, and political debate that has pushed the story into the national spotlight. The whispers began circulating when reports emerged from online commentators and political insiders alleging that law enforcement agencies had carried out a large-scale retrieval operation targeting assets supposedly linked to irregular acquisition or improper retention. The moment these claims surfaced, Zuma's name became the center of conversation, with theories circulating across platforms suggesting that the operation was aimed at recovering stolen possessions. It is essential to emphasize that these claims remain unverified. However, the magnitude of the reaction reveals just how deeply Jacob Zuma remains woven into South Africa's ongoing narrative surrounding corruption, accountability, and political factionalism. For years, Zuma has been entangled in legal battles, political disputes, commissions of inquiry, and allegations that range from dismissed to ongoing. This long history means that every new rumor, whether grounded in fact or fueled by speculation, instantly draws national attention. So when unconfirmed reports stated that police had allegedly moved to seize items labeled as stolen or unlawfully held, the country did what it always does: it broke into debate, analysis, and intense scrutiny. People across South Africa, from political analysts to ordinary citizens scrolling through their phones, wanted answers. Was this supposed police operation real? Was it political theater designed to sway public opinion? Was it simply misinformation amplified by social media algorithms? Or was it something broader and more complex, quietly unfolding behind closed doors while the public attempted to piece the puzzle together? Social media posts described the alleged operation with dramatic flair, claims of unmarked vehicles, heavily armed officers, and a determined effort to retrieve contested assets began circulating widely. Whether these descriptions were grounded in truth or fueled by speculation, they ignited a firestorm of discussion. Commentators argued that if such an operation truly took place, it would represent a significant shift in South Africa's political landscape, reflecting an environment where even former presidents are not immune to the reach of law enforcement. Others pushed back, insisting that the story felt exaggerated, politically manipulated, or intentionally inflated to influence public sentiment. Some suggested that the entire stolen possessions narrative may be nothing more than a product of ongoing factional battles within the ANC or the broader political arena. Regardless of the truth, what is clear is that the story has gained momentum beyond the original rumor. It has evolved into a symbol of South Africa's complicated relationship with political power, justice, and accountability. Predictably, supporters of Jacob Zuma swiftly rejected the narrative. Groups aligned with the former president denounced the claims as yet another attempt to weaken him and undermine his influence. They described the rumors as political persecution dressed up as legal action. Online platforms supportive of Zuma began rallying around him, pushing counter-narratives, launching hashtags, and posting videos questioning the motive behind the alleged operation. For these supporters, the issue is not whether the claims are true, it is the pattern they believe they have seen unfold time and time again, accusations or rumors emerging at strategic political moments, whether substantiated or not, used to discredit their leader. But among ordinary citizens, opinion remains sharply divided. Some feel strongly that Zuma, like any public figure with a complicated and legally contentious past, still has questions to answer. They argue that if authorities believe wrongdoing has occurred, they should act decisively, regardless of political fallout. Others argue that the country must find a way to move forward and avoid dragging former presidents into constant cycles of public humiliation based on rumors and factional agendas. In this sense, the alleged seizure itself became less important than the larger discussion it triggered: what Zuma symbolizes, what the country still grapples with, and how political accountability continues to shape national identity. Zuma's name, whether invoked in a courtroom or a trending hashtag, represents corruption narratives, political struggle, institutional wounds, and the unfinished business of state capture. Any claim, even one not confirmed, touches nerves that have been exposed for more than a decade. If the alleged operation gains credibility or receives official comment, it will undoubtedly stir internal conflict within the ANC. Zuma remains a symbol, a figure with influence, and any move against him, real or rumored, can destabilize political balances within the party, especially with elections always looming on the horizon. Opposition parties have already used the viral rumors as fuel to reopen discussions on accountability, state capture, public trust, and the importance of strengthening law enforcement independent of political interference. What makes this rumor significant is not the claim itself, but the political impact it generates. Analysts believe that whether the story proves accurate, exaggerated, or entirely misleading, it signals a new phase of political conflict. Zuma is not merely a former president, he is a political force with supporters, history, networks, and influence. Any suggestion of a blow against him naturally becomes a national talking point. As the hours pass, more voices will join the debate, more perspectives will surface, and more online narratives will clash. South Africa is witnessing yet another example of how quickly stories, verified or not, can shape the direction of public conversation. What is certain is that this story is far from over. The allegation that Jacob Zuma suffered a major blow through a supposed police seizure of items suspected to be unlawfully held remains an unconfirmed claim embedded in a much larger narrative about politics, power, and justice in South Africa. Whether the rumor eventually proves true, exaggerated, or completely misunderstood, the public has already responded, the political landscape has already shifted, and the debate about Zuma's legacy and South Africa's political future has been reignited. This moment is less about the physical possessions in question and more about what the story represents: a nation still wrestling with its past, its leaders, and the future it hopes to build. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell. This unfolding story is only beginning, and you won't want to miss the next chapter as South Africa's political landscape continues to shift and the truth behind the rumors becomes clearer. The surge of speculation surrounding Jacob Zuma has not only dominated timelines but has also reignited an old question South Africa never seems to escape: why does every rumor connected to Zuma explode into a national event? Part of the answer lies in the atmosphere of unresolved history that follows him. Even though many of the claims circulating right now remain unverified, the public reaction shows how Zuma's political presence remains powerful long after leaving office. Every allegation, whisper, or leaked hint acts like a spark thrown into dry grass, flames spread instantly, and the entire country watches to see what will burn next. As users debated the alleged police seizure online, one theme kept resurfacing: South Africa's deep distrust of official narratives. When people read that police had reportedly confiscated items believed to be improperly held, the absence of clarity only fueled the speculation. Some users demanded transparency, arguing that if an operation did happen, the public had a right to know what it targeted and why. Others argued that silence from authorities was suspicious in itself, believing that any action taken involving a politically sensitive figure would naturally be kept out of the public eye as long as possible. Meanwhile, Political commentators pointed out that South Africa's history of factional tension has created an environment where every development, true or false, gains a political interpretation before a factual explanation. For analysts watching the unfolding online storm, the issue was not whether Zuma was guilty or innocent, but how quickly narratives form even in the absence of evidence. Some suggested that political players could be using the rumor to shift public sentiment. Others argued that the story's viral spread reflected the emotional fatigue many citizens feel after years of corruption scandals, state capture revelations, and leadership disputes. Within hours, the debate evolved into something even broader, a conversation about the credibility of state institutions themselves. Users questioned whether the alleged operation, if real, represented a new era of accountability or merely another chapter in the ongoing power struggle within South African politics. Some argued that if such a decisive move was made by law enforcement, it could signal a stronger stance against corruption. Others countered that if the rumor was false, its circulation might be part of a coordinated attempt to damage Zuma politically without any legal basis. What added even more fuel to the fire was the way supporters and critics framed their arguments. Zuma's defenders insisted that any hint of police involvement was simply another tactic in a long-running campaign against him. They pointed to past incidents where allegations surfaced publicly but later unraveled under scrutiny or were exposed as politically motivated leaks. Critics, however, argued that Zuma's long legal history made it reasonable for the public to take such claims seriously. They pointed out that rumors gain traction precisely because they emerge from a legacy of unanswered questions. Interestingly, many citizens expressed fatigue rather than outrage. They argued that South Africa needs consistency and clarity, not another wave of confusion driven by rumor. For these people, the issue is not Zuma himself but the broader concern that the country remains trapped in cycles of political drama instead of focusing on economic recovery, job creation, and community safety. They worry that constant controversies, real or fabricated, prevent South Africa from moving forward. As the discussion continued to grow, one thing became clear: Zuma's influence is not confined to his political career. It stretches into the national psyche, shaping conversations about justice, leadership, and credibility. Even a rumor about a police operation becomes a reflection of the nation's unresolved conflicts. Whether the claims eventually prove accurate or collapse under scrutiny, the impact has already been felt. The reactions, debates, and emotional responses reveal a nation still searching for political stability and institutional trust. And as the story spreads, with new voices adding opinions every hour, the truth may become less important than the narrative itself. The more the public talks, speculates, and theorizes, the more this moment becomes a mirror reflecting South Africa's ongoing struggle with its past, its political tensions, and the uncertainty of what comes next.